mountains high. Freedom's banner fills the sky. A nation born to free all men, to bring oppression to an end. Let liberty ring across this land. By your grace and by your
All right, yeah, I got three
one nation lifting up your name. Forever faithful, unashamed. God bless America. God bless America. Land of the free. God bless America.
Oh, there you did.
God bless
America.
From sea to shining sea. Oh, glory flies across the land to prove to all, united we stand. Though some may try to tear her down, they'll never silence freedom's sound. God bless America. God bless America. Land of the free. God bless America. God bless America. From sea to shining sea. For every blessing you have given, for every hero.
These ones are, I got three 4-minute ones, so they're shorter ones I got today.
Now in heaven, we'll trust in you through every storm. God bless America forevermore. God bless America. God bless America. Land of the free. God bless America. God bless America. From sea to shining sea. God bless America. God bless America. Land of the free. God bless America. God bless America.
Yeah, I've been starting to do the national anthem stuff now from here on out, Paul. I'll do about 3 of them.
From sea to shining sea. From sea to shining sea.
Yeah, that's the first one. I got 2 more.
Tonight, in your spacious...
Cat Lady just came out, Lucy. Got 1.
Stand up. Friday night lights, Main Street parade, boots coming home, hands raised to pray. Kids chasing fireworks across the July sky. If you ask me what America is, it's right here tonight. Stand up for the red, white, and blue. Stand up for the ones who fought for you. Raise that flag, hold it high, let the whole world know we're America.
I guess they're showing Trump right now at the soccer game, but don't bother me. I can watch the replay on that. Watch the replay on that one.
Yeah, we're American. Woo! Some were born here, some found this place. Some crossed an ocean, chasing freedom's grace. Keep your roots, bring your pride, stand beside us. One flag, stand up for the red, white, and blue. Stand up for the ones who fought for you. Raise that flag, hold it high, let the whole world know we're American. This flag wasn't stitched together. It was forged in sacrifice, in hard work, in faith, in freedom. Raise it high, hold it proud. One flag, one nation. United we stand. Home of the free, because of the brave. We're American. We're American. Oh, stand up. Woo. Stand up.
Okay,
Imagine making 450.
One more. Paul, did you watch yesterday's show? Did you watch that 21-minute video? It was really good. I'm going to save that. Flying Eagle, so we should get that video out for everybody. It's a real important one. I want to keep playing it for a while till everybody hears it. I don't know if Ori saw it yesterday either or not. I like this one. 1 minute.
Of July, the fireworks scream, red, white, and blue, the American dream. Candles burning, hope held tight, the flag waves strong in morning light. Eagles rise with fire and pride, stars and stripes forever our guide. Voices rising, proud and free, from sea to shining sea. Across the land our spirits cry, we reach the sky. Freedom roars in red, white, blue, it's what we do. Raise the flag and sing with me, USA, land of the free. Apple pie cooling on the windowsill. Stars and stripes wave on the nearby hill. Mountains tall and canyons wide, we carry freedom with honor and pride. cry once more, scars and stripes forevermore. Voices rising, proud and free from sea
lot
to
better
shine.
weather today. We're back to
Across the land,
normal.
our spirits cry. We reach the sky. Freedom roars in red, white, blue. It's what we do. Raise the flag and sing with me. USA, land of the free. Raise your voice, let freedom ring. Celebrate this land we sing. From the desert to place of peak so high. Burning bright this 4th of July. Voices rise in liberty low. USA. We shout it proud. Hearts united, freedom's cry. We reach the sky. With freedom's fire in every stride. We ride with pride. Raise that flag now, hear us roar. USA. America, land of the brave and free. 4th of July, the birth of liberty.
Okay, God bless America. Our amen and all to every U.S. first responders and military and president and the first lady. So we got some good stuff again, like always. We got update, a short clip update from Mel last night. She has a 16-minute one. Billy just came out, 21 minutes. And then I was saying, Ori and Paul, we had a good clip that everybody needs to hear. I don't know if you heard it or not. So let me know if you guys didn't hear it. I'm gonna replay it. It's about 20 minutes. It's worth playing again every day. Wake people up. And then Trisha has another update with the View. That's 15. And then it's on and on. So we're going to get started. And the first one we'll do, because the cat lady just came out with her first one. I didn't do the R&R videos yesterday either. This is a good one, I think, from her today.
This prophecy, are we just fulfilling a prophecy at this point? So all we have to do is stop the filibuster, end it. That's all we have to do. And everything can be passed, everything can be changed, pass the Save America Act, do everything we need to do to save America. But we have Republicans that refuse to do it. Why? The Democrats, the left, AOC herself has said the second that they regain control, they are ending the filibuster, which means we are done. We are over with. So why in the hell are those Republicans not voting to end the filibuster when they're being told that the left is going to do it. Ask yourself what is
Terrible.
going
Terrible.
on. The second thing I want to talk about, when is the President of the United States, who I love, going to declare war on us, on the left, not us, but America? We have war going on in Iran, a full-blown freaking war going on in Iran. We have a war here in the United States, and we need to declare it. We need to declare the left a terrorist group. We need to declare that Mondami is a traitor to the United States. Fucking denaturalize him, deport him now.
Today?
Right now, Mondami is going behind Trump's back. Well, obviously not behind his back. We all know about it. But he has been looking into the laws and trying to get a way around to be able to arrest I can't pronounce that guy's name, Netanyahu from Israel, okay? I know. Just bear with me. At least my accent's real, okay? He is actively looking for ways to arrest him when he comes to New York. First of all, you cannot do that, okay? You can't do that. The Secret Service is going to tie your ass into a new knot. He knows this, so it's all for show. He's going to make a big spectacle to get more onto the left side that he tried to do this. This is inside the United States, someone declaring war against the United States. Why are we allowed it? Why in the hell is Ilhan Omar still in the United States? What the fuck is taking so long?
Exactly.
The other thing I wanted to tell you about.
Exactly.
Have you looked up Lindsey Graham's house that he lived in when he passed away? Go Google it. Go Google Lindsey Graham's net worth when he passed away. Then I want you to Google Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Chuck Schumer. Go look. And for all of y'all that said something bad about Lindsey Graham, when you go see what his net worth was, and he's been in office since, 1997? And the man wasn't sucking off the pharmaceuticals or doing any underhand trading. Y'all really should be ashamed of yourselves. The other thing is, AOC comes to Tennessee to spread her left-wing bullshit, right? We all know AOC is from the Bronx, okay? But when she gets up to do her speech in Tennessee, all of a sudden she's like, hey, y'all, we can't leave Tennessee behind, y'all. And we can't leave Louisiana, hiya, and Alabama. Does anybody have any sweet tea? Bless my heart. This heat is just unreal. Bless all of your heart. Fuck you, AOC. You freaking accent changing little snake. You need to be put out too. You need to be deported back to Mars, wherever the fuck you came from. Every one of you watching this video, get off your lazy fucking asses and email your congressman again tonight, right now, and say, end the filibuster. Then you want to email the White House and say, deport Mondami, okay? If we can't get off our fat, lazy asses and make a Saturday and all of us conservatives to get together and start marching in the streets yelling, we want Mondami deported, what are we going to do? Just sit back and watch it happen? New York is the beginning. If they can get it done in New York, Michigan is all right behind them, okay? Then Chicago, then they're coming for the southern states. Wake up, people. So I've got a question.
She's right on that one. How much longer do we have to wait? I got a photo here I want to share. This is today's forecast: sunrise, sunset, and some shit in between. This is a 3-minute.
One day, the Federal Reserve will cease to exist, and federal income tax will be unconstitutional once again. Not because of conspiracy, but because these systems were never built on the consent of the governed. And what is built without the people eventually falls by them. In 1913, while Americans were distracted by the holidays, 2 quiet decisions rewrote the American Republic. The 16th Amendment gave Washington the power to tax your income, and the Federal Reserve Act gave a private banking cartel control over your money. Neither had the consent of the people, and both redefined the relationship between citizen and state. Before 1913, a federal income tax was unconstitutional by design. The founders understood that when government can tax your labor directly, it can control your life. That protection, written into the Constitution, was torn away. And the Federal Reserve, born in secret at Jekyll Island, drafted by bankers, passed in the dark, a private institution cloaked in public power, beyond elections.
This is another good
beyond
one from the NAS guy.
accountability. Economist Milton Friedman said it best: no institution in the U.S. has such a high public standing and such poor record of performance. Let's review that record. The Fed doubled prices during World War I, helped spark the recession of 1929, then turned it into the Great Depression. It fueled the inflation of the 1970s, and in recent decades, it printed trillions to inflate Wall Street while draining Main Street. You didn't vote for this. You never gave your consent. This isn't what the founders envisioned, and it is not what the future demands.
Well, I have long been in favor of abolishing it. I think there is no institution in the United States that has such a high public standing and such a poor record of performance. On the whole, it has a very poor record. It's done far more harm than good.
My friends, we are all anonymous. And with the 250th anniversary of our republic upon us, it is time we, the people, restore what was promised in 1776.
All right, another good one with that one. Yeah, I got a 5-minute interview with Trump and this lady. I've never seen this one.
All this time in the Gospel of John.
And just 3.5 years, my child tax credit
Here it
has
is.
decreased by 80% almost.
Get what? Excuse me.
Her child
Sorry, this-
tax credit has
Okay.
decreased by 80%.
That's
Sorry, my child
I
tax
don't know when
credit
this was.
has
Anyone
decreased
see
by
that?
almost
Right.
80%. Daycare for the lowest amount is roughly $1,400 a month for one child here.
yeah.
Last year, I broke my neck. I almost lost.
You have a beautiful voice, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm having a panic attack right now.
Trump notices this woman in the crowd having a panic attack, and the way that he reassures her and make her feel calm will give you chills. You guys gotta check this video out.
Look at what's happened in swimming. Look at the records that are being
So
broken.
how do you stop it? Do you go to the
Stop
sports leagues? Do you go to the Olympic
You just ban it.
councils?
The president bans it. You just don't let it happen. Not a big deal.
You have the next question. I know. Hi. My name is Rachel Rachel S. here from Cumming, Georgia. I'm a single mom to 2 kids here. And just in 3.5 years, my child tax credit
Here it
has
is.
decreased by 80% almost.
Get what? Excuse me.
Her child
Sorry, this-
tax credit has
Okay.
decreased by 80%.
That's
Sorry, my child tax credit
Right.
has decreased by almost
Right.
80%. Daycare for the lowest amount is roughly $1,400 a month for one child here.
yeah.
Last year, I broke my neck. I almost lost.
You have a beautiful voice, by the way.
He
Thank you so
repeated
much.
it like
I'm
four-
having a panic attack right now. Like, no
4
panic.
minutes.
Oh, right here with you.
Gloria.
But last year I had broken my neck and I tried applying for any kind of assistance and was denied because I did not make less than $700 a month. And I'm shaking like a freaking leaf. I cannot stop. So I could not afford daycare. I obviously was having to go through physical therapy and a lot of issues, and I'm still having issues to this day.
Right, I understand.
But what kind of realistic changes that do you think you can provide single parents, married parents, any kind of parent to just simply afford children in today's world with the way things are?
So listen here, guys. You're about to be able to easily tell that Trump's parents raised him with empathy, to just show sympathy to everybody around him. Just a really good guy, right? He always tries to compliment people. He always tries to make people feel at ease. He's just a really good guy. But everybody tries to bash him. So, guys, I'm not going to catch you in the back end on this. I'm going to let the rest of this one play out. You guys have to listen to it.
Right? It is not fair.
No.
You never heard of Ivanka, right? Ivanka. My daughter drove me crazy on this. We had the simplest, most beautiful, I gave you the largest tax cuts in the history of our country, okay? Larger than the Reagan cuts, larger. But my daughter, Ivanka, she said, Dad, we have to do tax credits for women, for the child tax credits. She was driving me crazy. Then I did it, and I got it just about done. Dad, you've got to double it up. I said, Ivanka, it was actually more complicated than the entire bill, but I got it done. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to because I understand exactly what you're saying, we're going to readjust things so that it's fair to everybody, because it's really not fair to everybody. But we have a lot, and we're going up higher, but we're also going to readjust because you have to make some readjustments. It's unfair to some people, and we're not going to have that. But she was the one that got it started. Those were our credits. Those were not the Democrat credits. A lot of Republicans said, rightfully, don't do it because we never get credit for that. We're not known for that. But the truth is, I wanted to put it all in the form of the tax cut. So I got the maximum tax cut, but we're also bringing down the taxes for companies and for people. We're bringing it down to 15%. And for companies, only if you make your product, build your product in the USA. Otherwise, you don't get it. So
I want to ask you.
That right there ends the video out, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. Be sure to like.
Yeah, we play him all the time. He's good. Katie's not in yet. Oh, where's she at? What, she'll be in there already. We got a 11-minute one, and then we'll do the 16-minute Mel video, and then Billy's 21-minute. Oh, stop. Anybody catch this one here?
We did it on Thursday. I know a lot of people have covered it, but it was we caught on to a lot of the good stuff at the end of the roundtable. Patrick, have you seen any of this stuff yet?
I wasn't at the roundtable. I was on the call-in show. So if it was there, then I've seen it. If not, then no.
Well, first of all,
I did see a post of a very unattractive person in a hot tub.
Yeah, because they're fake and gay. Sorry, I think I'm funny. Sorry.
You guys are cool with these guys. Right?
You want to show the Q Intel news story?
I mean, if you're going to do that, we could just do this. Wait, let's see.
Right.
What else do we got on this? Where is it? Here it is.
Dude, that's meatloaf and a half, dude.
Qualifications do you have to serve in the U.S. Senate?
Oh, I ran for office several times. Didn't win, but I did run. And then I'm a songwriter, and then I write my own books. And then I suppose my transparency, I wouldn't lie to the people, and I wouldn't deceive the people like we're being deceived right now. Like, we get lied to, smoke and mirrors, like what's going on with ICE. Pretending like these victims did something wrong. Like, that's unacceptable. And I suppose the biggest thing is, like, I'm just an angry citizen now, and if I got elected, I'd be an angry senator, and I think that would probably be their worst nightmare.
Why are they laughing?
Look. Let me say something about this. I'm not trying to shame anyone. However, we need to be realistic when we're looking at what's being propagated against us. Donald Trump talks about central casting, right? We have people like Kayleigh McEnany and Pete Hegseth, and central casting. Beautiful people giving a message is much more attractive to look at, and it's much more palatable. Okay, can we just all be realistic about that for a second? When that person's not as attractive as Kelly, right? Like I'm just
none of them are.
Yeah, they're farting, they're banging Chinese spies, they have Nazi tattoos, and it's my meme, but they're drinking Bud Lights in hot tubs. Come on,
the press secretary under Trump 2.0 is even hotter than Kayleigh McEnany. They're just upgrading.
And am I supposed to believe that from a marketing standpoint, a pure, shallow marketing standpoint, the Democrats haven't gotten together and been like, maybe we should find one hot person, male or female, to run?
They got AOC, but she's kind of retarded.
She works for us.
Yeah,
it's on our side.
It's true.
By the way, that black girl is also hot.
Okay, there's like two, right? But
Jasmine Crockett. There we go.
Yeah, even the one we all hated during election time in Fetterman came off with big ears and tattoos that were disappearing, and all of a sudden he swayed to our side and he's about to leave their party.
I mean, dude, look.
In the NDAA.
Oh no.
The American people need to know, of course, how and why this chaos is spreading through their streets, and we need complete investigation that's independent. Now on Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump administration can say about his disastrous war with Iran is that Vietnam was worse, a point Trump made yesterday, he reveals the scale of his failure. This is what Donald Trump said. The only thing he can say is Vietnam was worse. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Dude, this is as funny as when they all were saying erection instead of insurrection.
God, do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
They were all saying erection instead of insurrection. Matter of fact, he was one of them. And now they're farting in front of the mic and it's picking that up.
Messed up again, you guys. Darn it.
And we need complete investigation that's independent. Now on Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump administration can say about his disastrous war with Iran is that Vietnam was worse, a point Trump made.
Not only is it happening, but the New York Post is reporting on it. They put a whole article out about it.
Dude, he's not the only one that this has happened to. Okay, but let's name who it did happen to. So it happens to him. It happens to Swalwell. And I'm pretty sure Joe pooped himself.
Yeah, in front of us.
Yeah.
I think he came up to the camera one time and said, "My butt's been wiped."
This is the greatest movie I've ever watched.
Oh God! And I wish my damn computer worked right now because I have that video of the great erection montage, and I can't. Guess what? I was about to say I can't get it up. Oh, wait, here it is.
Like Donald Trump, they said he participated in an erection, and I have to an insurrection. An insurrection, and I have to say I got up at 5 this morning to do Casey Hunt's show, and I'm exhausted. So
we'll have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection.
Republican voters in South Carolina ousted one of the 10 Republicans who voted to impeach the former president over his role in the January 6th election.
Incited an erection. He worked to incite an erection.
There is no comparison to inciting an erection.
Into inciting an erection.
They feel if a president has incited an erection.
For inciting the erection.
Someone who just incited an erection. Did incite an erection on the Capitol. For inciting that deadly erection.
Dude, it's Joe. It's obviously it's funny as hell, but like that montage is one of the tools I use to say, like, you think we're crazy when we say that the media and these people are under control and they're watching a movie, and you watch that montage and you say, how is it that only the deep state people all made that mistake? Not one Republican ever made that mistake. No one on Trump team or in conservative media ever made that mistake. Only all the same characters. That shows you the full control.
That's why I brought it up. Dude, how do that many people, that many professional cameras in their face, reading what they have to say, can't say, like, how is that possible?
Like, what you would think if that was a common mistake, one conservative podcaster or one person on Fox News or one Republican senator or congressman or cabinet member would have made that. But no, only the same deep staters, only the Anderson Cooper and
we need an explanation for this. What's a good explanation to throw up against the wall on this one? Go ahead, please.
Full control. Full control.
No. I believe you, but that is a very generalized answer. I'm wondering, what's the string of control? What string do they pull on? Do the controllers pull on in order to make them all say incited the erection?
Do you think
there have been some people that know the operation really well, right? And actually, there's some people I've personally met who have hinted at it. You know, you meet some of these, like, I'm not going to name names, but you meet some of these people who you think know things, probably do, generals and otherwise, and occasionally they'll give you hints, not directly, but people have hinted that, like, there's, over the years, that there's way more people, quote unquote, acting than you'd ever possibly fathom. That shows you. Like, that's not just, you can't put that in a teleprompter. So you would have to say that all those people, somebody literally told them to make that mistake.
Yeah, but do you think they're so dumb that they just Ron Burgundied them, or Ron Burgundied them, or actually know they were doing it?
We don't know.
I tend to believe they knew they were doing it.
Yeah,
like I've Schumer for a long time. Like, remember when Trump was at the Al Smith dinner last year and he was complimentary of Chuck Schumer?
Yeah. Yes.
Now, whether that's Chuck Schumer or an actor, I think that dude's been in. You ever notice that Schumer is never, every time he's giving one of those speeches, there's nobody sitting behind him on the floor? Has anyone ever noticed that? The dude's been talking on the floor of the Senate for the last 6 years, and there's never been anybody sitting behind him. Has anyone ever noticed that?
Oh, yeah, and you know what? Who was it that was speaking from that lectern? And when they turned around, somebody was giving them the hand signal, and they looked away real quick and went back to.
Oh, was that McConnell?
Okay,
yeah, I think it was Mitch. Yeah, I think you might be right. Yes, yeah, I think you're right. So the one. Yeah,
I think Chuck Schumer I know this is going to sound crazy. I think he's been in a freaking sound studio making these sound bites. He's always standing at that lectern by himself. That same angle. They don't cut to another angle. You don't see people sitting in the background like you do with all the other people. It's just him up there by him. Go fact check me on this. He's always by himself.
Okay. An easier way of doing it than using a sound studio would be simply using advanced AI tools to create the video from scratch.
Could be that too.
There's no reason to believe that's really actually the person, Charles Schumer.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that was it. Okay, we'll get going on to what did I say? I think it was Billy Bean on there. Oh wait, no, we'll do Mel, then Billy Bean. This one's 17.
Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Oh, a bit of a late evening little spruce just for all of you. This is the UK and global update that I said I was going to get done yesterday, but I have been extremely busy with other things. So let's get stuck right into it. The UK. We have now found the equivalent to FedNow in the UK, and of course, this is that Bank of England being converted into your illustrious HM Treasury. And of course, what happens there is, of course, it is called the Faster Payment Services, the FPS. So that's very, very important moving forward. So as we understand that this is regarding the Chainlink network. So yes, so that's very important. This sets UK up for their real-time settlements, and it limits, of course, are set by the banks at this point in time. But I believe from the information that I just read that those limitations are going to be limitless very, very soon. So we'll see what happens there. So just a little bit of a backline history as to what happened in the UK was basically pretty much the onset of, back in May of 2000, May the 1st actually in 2018, the Bank of England announced this new payment system, the FPS system, which is now called Pay.UK. Now this went even further back in November of 1989. So this sort of goes to show us just how far back the White Hats actually took control of the UK system. So back in November 1998, the UK Treasury commissioned the Cruikshank Report, which was the review of competition within the UK banking system. And now you're going to get all the links to this for the UK, but here is where it gets really interesting. This was actually completed in March of 2000. So from 1998 through to March of 2000, this report took control of the Treasury, or started to implement those changes from the Treasury. By November 2024, the Treasury published a very important paper, which is only 2 pages long, so it's quite a little interesting read, talking about the future of national payment infrastructure in the UK. Now, this was expanding for their fintech sector, but it's also connected, of course, to the Ripple blockchain. And again, I'm going to leave you the links. So in November 24, but Ripple then came into play for this particular transfer back on the 10th of July, 2017. Not a coinky dinky, is it? So we go to July 2026. Let's have a look at this. What came out today, and this is why there was a little delay on all of this news, because I heard whispers coming out of the UK. So let's have a look at what Bank of England did today, because this is important not just for UK, but also for the global geopolitical stuff that we were talking about just the other day. The Bank of England is going to stop accepting bonds linked to coal for key loans. What does this actually mean? Well, again, it goes back to what I actually was talking about the other week when I said that the structure of commercial banking and commercial loans is had to change. because of this implementation of this new quantum system, they have to change the way that they actually commercially loan money and what have you. But what's interesting, just a few short hours ago, they announced that they are no longer accepting bonds. Whoa. Get very, very excited because there's some really cool information. Again, this is forcing, as I said, commercial banks to rethink their holding of assets. This is what I'm saying. So previously, commercial asset lending was very, very different, a slightly different structure to those of us who have just straight out home mortgages. And of course, they also now have to come under the precedence of the Basel IV, which incorporates the holding of actual solid assets, such as that of backed by precious metals, that being, of course, gold, silver, platinum, etc., etc. This comes into full force in October. Now, it can still, RV can still happen. What I'm saying is this restriction on these bonds is completely finished by October. So very interesting. Of course, the big commercial lenders, just to keep in mind, of course, are Barclays, NatWest, Lloyds and HSBC in the UK. So this is where these banks have to now provide collateral in other forms, is what the statement was that came out. That was the statement that came out today. So what also happened just on July the 18th, Andy B, your new PM, of course, says that we're going to take a fresh look at the central bank, that being, of course, the Bank of England in this particular case. What happened this week as well, on the 11th of July, an article also dropped regarding the Bank of England are handing powers over to the regulatory key technical firms, that including Amazon and Google. Now, quite often people of those inside the UK go, oh, Google, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. These have all been restructured. And Amazon and Google, which have been taken and restructured, are actually looking after your quantum financial system. Okay? So keep that in mind. On the 8th of July, what was also interesting is the IMF have now upgraded the UK growth forecast. And of course, the Bank of England on the same day come out and said that they are easing capital rules. So this again ties in with the commercial lending and how much they're going to actually borrow as well. So this is where it gets very interesting. So let's talk about the digital pound. And we're only using UK as an example right now, but bear with me because there's some very interesting global updates that come into play here as well, because it's relevant, as I said, for everything across the world. The way that you would look or access the digital pound in this case would be through a digital wallet. Again, I'm leaving you all the links after the show. This is going to be provided by private companies. Now, this is the point I would like to make. Although this is specifically regarding the UK, understand there's two very important factors here. When we're talking about digital pound or digital dollar in your country, this is, of course, provided in a digital wallet, that being, of course, in blockchain. The second part of this is provided by a private company. Start thinking and working it out that this is nothing to do with the government, and there's more proof of that coming right up. So this is a Bank of England states that they are thinking private companies are actually a better placement opportunity to provide innovative products. Oh, that's a pretty big statement, ladies and gentlemen. And this is out of their documents, okay? Pretty bold statement. It actually takes the power away from the Bank of England. It takes us, it's completely saying that this takes away the power of the central bank. This case is, of course, Bank of England, but it also identifies with all central banks because they are all gone onto a digital wallet and they're all got private companies running those digital wallets. When they transfer from these central banks into the treasury, there was no government interference. It is all done by private companies. So we need to start thinking about these fundamentals so as we get to believe that this is all going to be fantastically exciting and great, even for those in the UK. But it goes on to talk about that it's also going to be servicing the public. These private companies, as I just said, are servicing the public. There's going to be new forms of money that are emerging. The digital pound is an electronic version of banknotes and is issued by the bank, but it doesn't run on the banking platform. It no longer runs on the government, so to speak, or the central bank platform. These are now facts, so listen carefully. The platform now that they're running on, in this case being the, of course, UK, is called Digital Lab. Now, this is where it even gets even more exciting for those in the UK, but across the world as well. Let's have a look at the showcase of this so-called Digital Pound Lab. The phase one was basically released, or they basically did an event on Thursday, the 15th of January, 2026. But what was interesting is that everything about this new Digital Pound Lab was actually already completed. They were just advising the public, as I always say, if they're talking about it, it's already done. So the next generation of the UK retail payment system infrastructure, which includes the APIs, the wallets and smart contracts. Now that sounds to me like it's a brand new system on blockchain. This is now completed. It was completed several months ago. I believe it was in November of last year. The phase two is what gets me very, very interested and very, very excited to share with you. In phase two of this Digital Pound Lab is to be completed by the end of July 2026. Boom shakalaka. And of course, the only delivery partner for the Digital Pound Lab, as I said, is Accenture. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is confirmation that the illustrious Central Bank of England, Bank of England, is no longer. They are on the quantum system as of the end of July. Anyway, just putting that out there. Okay, some other very important questions that quite often asked, especially from the citizens of the UK. And again, this also resonates with those people in and around the country, wherever you are, because these questions are very common questions. Is it going to replace physical notes? No, it is not going to replace your physical notes. Well, not at this point in time when this was all written. The question is also asked.
So this one was only 17 minutes from last night. She came on. Billy will be next, 21. Followed by, I'm going to replay that one video from yesterday that I don't know how many, I don't know if everybody saw it, but we should be playing it for a couple of days. And then on and on.
Is also asked, would they be able to use or monitor what I do with my digital money? Well, the Bank of England, including any other central bank and any government, would not collect any of our personal data and would not be able to see how you spend your digital pounds. Now, that's a pretty bold statement. However, when you understand completely about this new system, and as I said, it's telling us that it's going to be completed by the end of July 2026, the timing is everything, is because that you will have access through a virtual wallet. Okay, a virtual wallet. And you would be using your smartphone. You would only be sharing your personal data with your wallet provider. Now that goes in a little bit deeper than that, ladies and gentlemen, because as I said, with redemption and exchanges, I've actually said perhaps it is going to be that, of course, like I said, of a virtual wallet. I think they're holding back on a few things here, but again, you're only sharing your personal data with that of the wallet provider, not with the Bank of England and nor with the government in this particular case. The data privacy regulations would still be enforced, and neither the Bank of England nor the government would have access to your personal data. Now, this is actually stated, as I said, in the documentation that I will leave with the links to go with this particular little piece of work. But understand this, would the bank restrict how you use your digital pound? Well, again, you program your own payments. And again, nor the Bank of England nor the government will be able to program your payments. This is telling us, ladies and gentlemen, just out of the UK, as I said, even just today, a few short hours ago, they made a pretty big, bold statement about bonds. They're saying that this is going to be a virtual wallet come the end of July, or their phase 2 of their new payment system. Very, very important, I think. But here's some other very captivating news to tie this all up for the UK and for you across the world. 14th of July, a new captive insurance regime has already been released for those in the UK. This is very, very important. They're actually going to be supporting single parents, I believe is going to be the first phase of the new captive insurance regime in the UK. Things they don't tell you about in the mainstream media. But on the 13th of July, the UK financial regulators, ladies and gentlemen, this is another boom shakalaka laka laka moment. They have signed off by the Treasury. Your new financial system was signed off on Monday, the 13th of July, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little brief update from the UK. As I said, thank you very much for joining us here today. I'll put together all the links for all of you to bruise over and remain calm and collected. And we'll see you.
Yeah, that was last night's short clip she came out with. I guess there was a shooting in Arizona. I'm going to show that real quick on JRL. We'll play 5 minutes.
Right. JLR investigate. Come on in. Looks like multiple people have been shot. 10 people have been shot overnight in crazy Tucson, Arizona. We know a lot about Tucson, Arizona. Come on in, folks. We're going to just talk about what happened overnight, talk about the Nancy Guthrie case in general, and we have our eyes once again on Tucson. For some reason, I can't escape Tucson. Every time I'm trying to branch off and do other things, it takes me right back to Tucson. Overnight, there was a mass shooting. We're calling it a mass shooting because multiple people got shot. 10 people shot. Police also interact with the suspect. They shot the suspect. Now, who in the heck would shoot 10 people? Where the heck is this location? 6th and Congress Street. See a lot of people in the chat. Welcome back. Welcome aboard, folks. Police actually spoke about this matter, but then there was another matter.
Okay, just an update on that. "21 minutes.
A soul, and I believe it was you."
Welcome to Truth by Billy Bean. Today's date, July 19, 2026, time in Texas, about 1 p.m. And thanks for like, subscribe, and share, and especially for hitting the like button. That really helps my channel. Thank you so much. Some of the things we'll cover today. Rest in peace to U.S. military. President Trump opened the gates of hell. Kiev burns. And Texas, a thunderstorm by Friday. So let's get started. So we saw yesterday the National Hurricane Center was giving a disturbed area coming off of Florida, in the Gulf of America. 20% chance for development in 48 hours, 30% in 7 days today. The National Hurricane Center gives this area 60% development in 48 hours and 80% in the next 7 days. Now, I agree with BP Earthwatch that many of the models that are currently being used by the National Hurricane Center definitely that's the basis of making models. You have to predicate them based on history. But what we are seeing now globally, and certainly in the U.S., is unprecedented, unseen before in modern human history. Global Earth changes coming from space, impacting the sun, impacting the Earth. One point would be, as Mike from Around the World says, atmospheric compression. This operates globally. So we're seeing the atmosphere now holding more moisture, 5 times as much, 12 times as much, 20 times as much. We are seeing it this week in Texas and catastrophic flash flooding, with some areas from Texas down to Mexico receiving 40 inches of rain. Now we have what appears to be coming into Texas along the Texas Gulf Coast from Galveston, Houston, down to Corpus, a thunderstorm that may be upon us by Friday. So that's going on. We will see heavy rains also in the Florida Panhandle, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. So,
do you want to know how you personally can help protect the integrity of our elections? Americans are right.
What we can say now is now the central and western parts of Texas are saturated. Possibly we'll see now the southern parts of Texas also being saturated. So we currently have Tropical Depression number 2 in the Gulf of America at wind speed 30 miles per hour, pressure 10-11, moving north-northwest at 2 miles per hour. It's predicted to bring heavy rain from Florida to Texas, and also flash floods may be possible Thursday in Texas from Galveston down to Corpus. We have information that if this forms up into a tropical storm, it will possibly make landfall somewhere in Texas by Friday at 7 a.m. We can expect heavy rain in Texas. And that we can expect in Texas winds from this system by Wednesday at 8 p.m. And these predictions are coming from the National Hurricane Center. So it's a good time to pray and prep. And we have this coming out now. So tragically, we saw CENTCOM coming out yesterday and telling us that 2 U.S. military had been killed in Jordan. We know that the U.S. is now engaged in a conflict with Iran. and that in Iran late yesterday, in western Iran, near Iran's border with Iraq, we heard about a 5.0 earthquake that's been downgraded to 4.9, followed by an aftershock of 4.0, depth 10 kilometers or 6 miles. So that's going on. And we have reports by Mary Greeley that this occurred in the Zaporozhye mountain fault system. It is believed to be an earthquake rather than an indicator of some type of weapons test. So that's going on. We have this from Newswithzman. Newswithzman is a pro-Russian YouTube channel. That Iran hit hard Jordan, U.S. bases with kamikaze regular drones and also UAV drones and missiles. So this did happen. Iran yesterday hit a major U.S. base located in Jordan.
But when you do this for 7 seconds, it all comes out effortlessly.
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck poop.
I'm going to...
And that's where, sadly, we had 2 U.S. military killed. Now, reports are that 5 to 8 U.S. military have been seriously injured and are being treated. Also, reports that 1 is missing. So that's going on. And we had this information coming out from the pro-Russian channel Newswithzman that this hit on Jordan yesterday by Iran was facilitated by IRGC spies near the U.S. base to provide additional targeting information to Iran. And we know Iran now is being facilitated by China in their GPS system, Bador. And recall, China is the nation that orchestrated the U.S. presidential coup in 2020. And now we see China actively engaging in assisting our enemy, Iran, in killing U.S. military. What can we say about China? Maybe we can say, wait for it. And we have an IRGC report that 5 U.S. military were killed, which we can now say is not true. We had a report from CENTCOM yesterday. IRGC also reports they took down 2 F-16s. This is not being corroborated by CENTCOM. It's always good to find out what is truth and what is not, and do an accurate assessment of the source. Is it likely to be pro or con yourself or your enemy? And we have this, that Iran now makes threats against the U.S. by hitting Gulf states, primarily Kuwait and Bahrain. So that's going on. And we have this. Russia reports the IRGC has a plan to do a ground invasion of the Gulf states. Now, I will put this forth. If Iran is going to do a ground invasion, most likely of Kuwait and Bahrain, how is it they're going to get from Iran across the Persian Gulf? Just say it. And we now, Russia says the plan for the U.S. in the Middle East is to deprive China of Middle East oil. China clearly demonstrated themselves to be an enemy of the U.S. back in 2020. And what do we see China doing right now? China clearly IDs itself as an enemy of the U.S. by assisting our enemy, Iran, to kill U.S. military. So that's going on. And we have this from U.S. Intel. We can say rest in peace to U.S. military who were killed yesterday at the Jordan U.S. military base. And we see today, day 8, the U.S. responding with a major escalation against Iran. And as I said, President Trump has ordered open the gates of hell upon Iran. And that the U.S. military is using high precision strikes on Iran, including Bandar Abbas and surrounding IRGC bases. So the U.S. today is doing a massive escalation, hitting Iran once again along its southern border to destroy Iran's ability to do anything in the Strait of Hormuz against ships. U.S. Intel, Iran, and the U.S. is acknowledging that Iran appears to have adapted to U.S. air defense systems, thus allowing more Iranian missiles and drones to hit the U.S. I put forth this adapting by Iran to the U.S. air defense is fully facilitated by China. So that's going on. We have this from U.S. Intel. Iran says, if the U.S. bombs any more Iran bridges, then Iran is going to hit targets in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. In other words, Iran is going to hit U.S. Bases or U.S. resources located in Kuwait and Bahrain. We have this. The U.S. military has already moved from Jordan. The U.S. Surveillance drone Trident, that was moved a week or so ago from Jordan to the U.S. base in Sicily, Italy. We have this from U.S. Intel. Kiev is burning today. Russia hit Kiev yesterday by this report yesterday by 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Russia hit Kiev with 30 ballistic missiles and took down Kiev's air defense Patriot system. Russia has hit in Kiev ammo depots, electric facilities. We know they also took down a primary logistics hub for Kiev named Amtel. And Russia also collapsed the roof of Kiev's subway system that's being used by civilians in Kiev as a bomb shelter. So we see Russia taking down the civilian bomb shelter in Kiev. We have this also from U.S. Intel. Russia says to Kiev, for Russia to stop bombing Kiev, Kiev must withdraw from the Donbass, that's Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhzhia, Kherson, and Crimea, and acknowledge that these areas belong to Russia, and that Kiev, Ukraine must also agree to remain neutral and not join NATO. Otherwise, Russia is going to continue to destroy Kiev. We have this also from U.S. intel, that Russia also yesterday, in addition to their massive hit on Kiev, continued to push forward on critical front lines in Ukraine, including Bakhmut, Siversk, and Sloviansk, and Kramatorsk and Dusakiva. We see Russian military also making advances in its front line in Ukraine yesterday. And that yesterday, July 18, Russia was 5.5 kilometers or about 3 miles from the Kramatorsk airport. And we have this from Max Afterburner today, July 19. The U.S. military mounts retaliation for Iran's hit on its Jordan base, massively hitting today from Bandar Abbas along its southern coast all the way up to its capital city, Tehran. And the U.S. is believed to be using bunker-busting bombs, possibly using B-52 and Growler planes. And that CENTCOM puts forth they are returning swift punishment to Iran for Iran's hit on the U.S. Jordan base. We also have this, that also Ukraine yesterday, July 18, we see Russia, 30 missiles on Kiev. Now we see Ukraine hitting also inside Russia yesterday.
Sex starts in the brain. I'm Dr. Ackerman, and I'm a board-certified neurologist. I've seen
taking out more Russian storage logistic hubs. Russia reports that these hits yesterday by Ukraine on Russia resulted in 8 Russian deaths and 60 Russians being injured. And we have this, that also Russia took down inside Russia yesterday 379 Ukraine drones. So that's going on. And we have this from W77. President Trump opened the gates of hell on Iran and gives orders to CENTCOM. And CENTCOM is now in day 8 of massively hitting Iran. We have this from Alex Cristoforo, that yesterday the Russian military inside Ukraine took the city of Liman, and also reports it's likely that Zelensky, based on the fact that there are ongoing protests inside Ukraine, that very soon Zelensky will also fire Zagorski. It's coming out that the real reason Zelensky fired his Minister of Defense, Fedorov, who had been phenomenally successful in directing Ukraine's successful drone attacks on Russia, is because too many people were beginning to support Fedorov. So Zelensky saw Fedorov as being a threat to his position as the not president of Ukraine. So Zelensky fired him. He was doing phenomenally well on the Ukraine front line, but he presented a political threat to Zelensky, so Zelensky fired him. Now the people continue to protest, so it's likely Zelensky will also fire Zagorski. Zelensky doesn't want anyone posing a political threat to himself. After all, he has firmly established himself as a dictator in Ukraine by illegally going against the Ukraine Constitution over a year ago and banning elections. He is Ukraine's leader for as long as Zelensky wants to be. And we have this from U.S. Intel that Russia did successfully destroy Ukraine's largest logistic hub yesterday in Kiev, Amtel Logistics. So it's good to be in prayer. And here is a short prayer for us today based on Isaiah 30. We pray, Father, in the name of Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, that you, Father, continue to provide for Iran seers who only see illusions and prophets who only speak lies. And at the same time, Father, we pray that you give to your people true visions and truth. And we say thank you, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, whom many call Yeshua, and God the Holy Spirit. I say to my family and friends, remain steady out there, continue to pray. God is in charge and he is on the move. I love you and I'll see you soon.
Okay, the first Billy out. So yeah, I was checking with Fire Eagle. I'm gonna play that one, the last video at the end of the show. I got one from that one channel we haven't done in a long time. It's similar to the video that we played yesterday. Fire Eagle, that one guy with the funny face. I don't know what it was. But let me know on this one if anybody's seen this.
Come out, just a little taste, a little hint of what I'm going to release to everybody for free. I'm almost done, and it's way bigger than I had originally planned, just because they keep trying to lock me down as I'm building what I wanted to build. So it's making me build more things, so that way they can never lock me or you down again. Let me just give you a little taste of what I'm talking about and what I'm building in the background, utilizing their fire against them. So there's a thing, I think it's called Caperna something, I don't know. But in New York, these specific people in black suits, people like to call them rabbis, take these chickens, they cut their necks and basically wing the chickens around their head over and over and over, and blood flies everywhere. And this is on the streets of New York City. People have tried to sue. People even go after the police because the police actually help them put up barricades and allow them to put this chicken blood everywhere and kill these chickens. Number one, it's animal cruelty. Two, it's a health code.
I don't know
because
about
these chickens
this
could
one.
be dirty with all the blood everywhere. But guess what? They're allowed to do this. Do you know why they're allowed to do this? Because anybody can do anything because the law is bullshit. As long as you're not violating somebody's rights or violating somebody, you can do any of these things. So, and also a citizen or, you know, a living man or woman could hold these people accountable, but it doesn't happen because nobody knows their rights. Nobody really understands that this is happening.
Okay. Sorry about that one, guys. I wasn't sure about that. Oh, wait. You know what? I got a Patriot Underground one from yesterday. It's an hour. But I'll play a few other ones.
If you're tired of games and meaningless...
The View. Bye-bye. Can we say bye to Will yet?
Look, it's definitely going to be a game changer.
14
The
minutes.
FCC is just a couple weeks away from absolutely changing how this show does business. Yeah, they're actually going to have, dare I say, both sides. You see, for like 20 plus years, they've gotten away with having only one side because apparently everybody thought that was just fine because that was back in the day when Republicans used to roll over and play dead. I'm thinking Mitt Romney, right? You know, they went after him and said, gee, you're really rich. You're really rich. And instead of saying, yeah, you know what? A lot of those jobs that you see here in America, guess what? I helped create them, and you better believe I'm rich. What did he do? He rolled over, he played dead. He said, really, no, I'm not. I'm just like you, you know? I strapped my dog to the top of the station wagon when we go on our family trips.
Did we
Well,
play
listen,
this one already?
everybody saw him as a phony. On the other hand, you got Donald Trump who's out there saying, I think you left a few numbers off. I'm actually richer than that. You better believe I'm rich, and I'm proud of being rich because this is the American dream. So it's a whole new thing, right?
I think it's a new one. It's 2 hours. It's 2 hours. And then after this one, I got Vinny's video. This came out with 8 minutes on Pelosi's in trouble again.
And it totally took the mainstream media by surprise because they were just so used to the Mitt Romneys or the George Bushes of the world. Everybody always apologizing for being conservative. And all of a sudden, Donald Trump's like, no, I'm not apologizing for any of it. Not one bit of it. I am proud of what I've accomplished. And it's because of this great country. And we need to preserve this great country so everybody has a shot at climbing up the ladder. Well, then that kind of changed things. So now they've got an administration and an FCC chairman in Brendan Carr that's not willing to put up with the shenanigans like we've been dealing with on The View for how long. So now, according to Bloomberg Television, one of my former employers, I joke, I feel like I pretty much have worked everywhere, which means I know how the sausage gets made. Anyway, I've been telling you this for a while, but Bloomberg going then and sourcing ABC, and it says FCC is indeed near its rulings on The View and the TV licenses. This is why Jimmy's going bye-bye. In his key markets like New York City, like LA, like Chicago, there's 8 O&Os, owned and operated stations that ABC has, the Disney Corporation has, and they're all going to see their licenses, it looks like, being removed, which means, well, I guess they won't be airing ABC programs in those markets. Oh, gosh darn it. Well, this is about to get super duper interesting. Look, that show, we all know. I try to play it sparingly, and I'm not going to go overboard here with you because you've seen a lot of it before, and because it is just so.
If you eat butter daily, this is what happens to your eyes. Take a look at these 2 retina scans. They both look sharp, focused, and healthy, but only one of them belongs to someone young.
Exaggerated. It is so preposterous. It is, in my estimation, a form of misinformation, right? You're welcome to have your opinion. You can have an opinion, okay? Have an opinion. You should have an opinion. And you should be free to share that opinion. But when there's no pushback and there's no other opinion out there and you have everybody agreeing all the time, and then you bring on guests, all of whom are lefties all the time, and you never counter that, 1, it's not that interesting. And 2, you're doing the public a total disservice. I mean, look, if you come and watch this show, guess what? I'm over here on YouTube. I don't have any bosses to report to. I don't have, unless the tech police were going to go get a little crazy on me, which is, by the way, all the more reason. Remember, subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. It's really important right about now, especially right now. But I would say that, look, over here in YouTube, you can say what you want. You can do what you want. You don't have middle management. In cable, you're actually decently free enough. I felt that always at Fox, until the end, because I dared to say the unthinkable, that maybe we shouldn't be closing down the whole darn country when we didn't have that much information about COVID, and the market shouldn't be trading off 2,000 points a day. Give me a break, because CNN finds its little, latest plane crash to be reporting on day in and day out and scare the living daylights out of everybody. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we lost a lot of people, and there are a lot of things I didn't know and nobody knew back then. But nonetheless, On cable, you could conceivably say that. I ran into some obstacles, obviously, because I didn't quite understand how sensitive everybody was at the time. But I am a big believer in you being able to say whatever you want, whenever you want. And that is a big sort of core principle that we have in our Constitution, courtesy of the First Amendment. But what happens as far as The View goes? You see, it gets a little bit more difficult with The View because those are broadcast airwaves. Now, I've explained this before, and I've actually explained it to people that I know very well, that are very smart, very educated, and even know a fair amount about the media, but they still don't get it. And I'm like, here's the deal. ABC, CBS, NBC, and even Fox Broadcast, okay? All of those networks are on FCC-controlled airwaves. Remember the days? I do. When we had antennas, my job as a kid was to like always be the remote control. So I would physically go up and change the channel. And then like I'd have to tweak the antennas and everything. You see, I had a tech TV thing coming my way. Little did I know, years later, I'd be doing all this, right? But anyway, I'd like work those rabbit ears and try and get the TV in. And, you know, this little town in New Hampshire, so it was kind of rural. We didn't have a whole lot of signal. We did have an ABC affiliate, the one and only ABC, WMUR. But I would just say that this is because we have these public airwaves. So they're using those public airwaves. That's what you heard Donald Trump reference there last night. They're not even paying for them, he said. So here's the deal. You're not going to pay. We have an expectation that you're going to be fair. Now, we may not agree with you, but you got to have both sides. And what show never has both sides? What show put on James Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett within days of each other and never bothered to put any Republican that was running for Senate in the state of Texas? That would be The View. And yet The View thinks he's the problem, of course.
Okay, we're
I won't show you
7
much.
minutes.
But this is worth seeing because this came out just ahead of the speech. I think this is a woman who's actually on CNN too, Ana Navarro, going off on the president. And if you have no counter to this, you understand the problem? Watch.
In the first Trump administration, but I think what's going on here is a very strategic, systematic effort to make people lose faith in the elections, hoping that then that turns into people not showing up to vote. Because this is not happening in a vacuum, right? He's continued to claim voter fraud regarding 2020 for 6 years now. He fired the election commission members. He's the one who started the redistricting war when it came to congressional districts in Texas. He claims that he asked a prosecutor to do me a favor and look into the California election, which he basically claims are fraudulent. He ordered the U.S. Postal Service to stop delivering mail ballots in states that refuse to hand over their certified list. He's threatened to withhold federal funding from some states that don't make changes to voting practices. He warned states that they would face state officials, they would face arrest if they didn't remove non-citizens from the rolls. He's fixated on this SAVE Act, which Republican leaders in Congress have told them they do not have the votes to pass.
Wow. Okay. Our thanks to Newsbusters for that clip. You know, like I said, I try to watch it rather sparingly, if you would. But again, this article coming to us courtesy of my former employer, Bloomberg, and Bloomberg writing that the FCC is very near rulings against Disney over both The View as well as those TV licenses. In terms of The View, the classification is important. So right now, the FCC, they actually rule on these things. They designate it as a news program.
Welcome.
As a news program, it doesn't. This is interesting because it's sort of counterintuitive. As a news program, you actually aren't required to put both sides on. I know that sounds strange. But I guess it's sort of expected that you're going to do it and then they're not going to have to like measure it. But if you're an entertainment program, they do actually measure it. So think of who else. Well, you know, in that case, as an entertainment program, you would actually need to put the opposing political candidates on because they're supposed to have that equal opportunity to get equal airtime, which, by the way, Jimmy Kimmel isn't ever doing either. So he's probably next in line. But basically, this classification is determining whether a set of rules and regulations is going to apply to its political candidate guests. Again, if the FCC designates it as an entertainment program, opposing political candidates must get the opportunity to come on the program and get equal time from the show, from the station, or from the network. Remember, right before the election, they gave Kamala a whole bunch of ink on SNL, and Donald Trump was like, hey, wait a second. And guess what? SNL had to give him time as well. He got to do like a little infomercial in SNL to make up for that, because again, you would be in violation of FCC rules. They're public airways, and so they have this equal time rule. So Brennan Carr is like, nobody's been paying attention to this for years and years and years. The Republicans never even cared, and they're getting, excuse my French, not his words, mine, screwed, right, in the process. Like, Trump is getting screwed. All Republicans, period, are getting screwed. And the left has taken over the media and the airwaves. And that is going to change. So the FCC is expected sometime within the next couple of weeks. It is expected before Labor Day, but I'm hearing the next couple of weeks. And they will come forward and they will say, hey, guess what? This is an entertainment show. This is no longer a bona fide news program. By the way, I should point out that the show is actually produced by ABC's news division. So the news division is going to have to give it up and give it over to the entertainment division. Then the FCC is going to get out its little ledger and say, okay, you gave the left this much time. Are you giving the right this much time? And down it goes, so on and so forth. But, you know, I think it's got to be done because the bias is so rampant. I mean, I caught this one. As I was researching today, I saw Whoopi Goldberg doing this little stint at the 92nd Street Y with Dr. Jill Biden, and then Biden himself is somehow in the audience. I mean, you tell me like Whoopi's not a little bit biased. By the way, she's getting paid to do this. Paid, because what are they doing? They're selling Jill's books there at 92nd Street Y. This is a paid appearance. Whoopi's not doing anything for free. Watch.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe has a question. Like you couldn't ask it later?
Who do you love most in the whole world?
Whoopi.
And so I'm going to do the last.
No. I love you most, Joe. Was that it? Is that the
It's called trying to fill dead air because her husband, she's terrified of what he might say.
wanted?
Yes.
Overwhelming. Well, that's what keeps him on his toes.
Okay, I can only take so much
Never
giggling, but you get the
100%
point. In other words,
sure.
you've
I
got
always keep him guessing.
Whoopi Goldberg and Dr. Jill Biden, along with former president of the United States, in attendance because Whoopi's getting paid. Okay, so Whoopi's on the take. Think about what's her name said recently. Oh, do we have the story? We do. Okay. So the FCC chairman, by the way, he was a little bit annoyed the other day because Sonny Houston actually said, and I quote, "We need to flip the Senate." The FCC chair is like, why is a host on this news program saying, and I quote, "We need to flip the Senate"? Who's this we? Okay, like, are you a Democrat Party op?
Just about over.
I think you might be. I think the FCC thinks you might be. I think this administration is not going to put up with it anymore. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, this hasn't happened. It's always been a news program. Well, maybe back in the day when Barbara Walters started it, it was kind of a news program. You had different opinions. And by the way, it wasn't just news. It was like health and entertainment. And Bob Iger, before he left Disney as CEO, he was begging these ladies, please, 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 would you talk about something else besides politics here? And they're like, no, that's what we do best. It's all we do. Well, you keep putting the same side on, and guess what? Ratings go down. You want to know what the best rated show this year was? The vice president's appearance. So J.D. Vance went on the show, and they got something like 3.3 million viewers, which was more than they'd ever seen by like a whoppingly huge number. Okay, so that was a big deal. Which goes back to my point, when you actually have both sides on, it becomes a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more interesting, and a little bit more watchable. Ha ha. Donald Trump might actually make these people better at their business. They're going to produce better TV as a result of him, right?
Okay, we got first on Trisha. I got an 8-minute video of Pelosi and a 3-minute update on Mr. Pelosi of his car wreck.
Basically roommates. So I tried everything. Rhinos.
Nancy and her husband, Paul Pelosi, are drunks, and they're in their 80s. And so their ability to handle alcohol has diminished severely. They appear drunk in public often, like this. Exciting moment. That was at a funeral, Nancy. Could you just like hold it together for a funeral?
Oh, God.
That's right. Banger of the summer. It's funny when Nancy Pelosi does it. It's less funny when Paul Pelosi's drunk because Paul Pelosi doesn't have a driver. And this is the body cam footage of Paul Pelosi after he hit somebody in Napa Valley. You could like, what was Paul Pelosi doing driving at 3 a.m.? No one's quite sure. But Paul Pelosi tries to bribe the cops. He hits a illegal alien, farm worker. They have a mansion out in the middle of Napa Valley. They own their own vineyard, of course. This is how rich elitist Democrats in California launder their money next to the French Laundry, aptly named. Well, anyway, here's Paul Pelosi trying to bribe the cops, saying, I'm an important person.
Draw any negative attention to you. If you've been honest with me, there's really nothing that you should be worried about in terms of the alcohol you consume. If you've been honest with me about your consumption being only two glasses of alcohol.
Yeah, but the police, to their credit, didn't really buy his excuses and he had a couple.
Paul Pelosi failed a sobriety test after smashing into this vehicle, and then he lied to the cops, and then he told the cops that he's too famous to go to jail. And you know what? He didn't go to jail. Isn't that amazing how that all works? So anyway, it looks like he might go to jail this time because Paul Pelosi did it all over again. The Napa County District Attorney has officially filed a misdemeanor charge against Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband for smashing into a vehicle in the middle of the day. He was blackout drunk, according to the complaint. Pelosi hit a parked vehicle and then plowed it up under the curb.
News alert, Paul Pelosi just got hit with new charges. Misdemeanor hit and run and an infraction for an illegal turn. The Napa DA, Allison Haley, hey, Allie, filed them herself this afternoon. This is the Tesla he allegedly creamed before taking off on July 4th weekend on a quiet block in Yountville, Napa, a couple doors down from the French Laundry.
I got a video on that.
Hey, Gav. A witness says he plowed into a parked Tesla so hard it shoved the tire up onto the curb. Didn't leave a note, kept going until his own car finally gave out.
Okay. Don't worry, he wasn't drinking. How does Nancy Pelosi react to this? This is pretty amazing. And Nancy Pelosi had a shrieking on-camera, angry rampage, and she's been known to do this, by the way. Like, Nancy Pelosi hates it when you ask her unauthorized questions.
Do you believe that? I never do, so it's nothing new. I understand, Madam Speaker. Do you believe that him waiting so long to make this decision? I'm not making any comments in the hallway about the fate of our nation. Okay? Are you concerned whether or not he can win in November? I think he can. Do you believe he should run for re-election? I'm not.
Watch this.
I'm not speaking English to you. I'm not going to be making any statements about
It's my favorite. Nancy Pelosi's so low-key racist. She goes to this, I don't know, brown girl. I don't know where she's from, but she goes, am I speaking English to you? Pelosi hates it when you ask her an unauthorized question. That's exactly what happened here. Speaker Pelosi gets asked a question about Paul's hit and run misdemeanor, and a staffer comes in and stops everyone and shrieks. Listen to this.
How is Paul doing since the accident? How's the accident that happened?
Thank you.
The courts are saying it was a hit and run. How's he doing? And do you think he'll avoid jail time?
That's enough.
It's just a question. It's reported widely in the news. Just asking what she thinks.
Oh, she can barely get into her car. She can't get into her car. They're so feeble. They're so frail.
The accident.
Look at these staffers.
The accident that happened.
Look at all these Look at these people. Look at these people. These are the people that want to run your government. This is an occupied government. This is an occupied wildebeest government. And she screams, "That's enough!" at the reporter.
A hit and run. How's he doing? And do you think he'll avoid jail time?
That's enough. That's not up for you to say. Look how entitled these people are. You ever said that's enough at a Golden Corral? Don't think so. They're so entitled. I mean, like, how dare you scream at a reporter? That's enough. Nancy Pelosi is one of the single most powerful insider trading, corrupt politicians. She deserves every bit of this. She can't get into her vehicle though. Here, like, watch with the sound off. Just watch this. Does this seem like a healthy person? She can barely get into her car.
Just like Hillary.
She's a cripple. She's running for re-election. Don't you worry. Nancy Pelosi sidesteps questions about her husband Paul's hit and run. This is the second biggest traffic scrape in recent years. Paul smashed into a parked Tesla in Napa County and fled the scene. Cops caught up with him. I hit something, but I kept driving. Nancy dodges the questions. Rules for me not to. I hit something and kept driving. He said he didn't know he hit something. Look at this. Look at the bumper. It's ripped clean off. Smashed the car up into the... I have a Tesla. I drive a Tesla. It's a sturdy vehicle. Very sturdy American-made vehicle. Smashed right up into the... And then his car broke down because he harmed his car. No doubt some type of fluid leak, right, is what you would probably get if you hit the front of your car. I don't know what kind of car he drives. But you get some type of fluid leak, and so his car was inoperable because he hit this car so bad.
These transforming glasses automatically adjust to what you're looking at. All glasses have this tiny flaw.
It's amazing. So we can't pass the SAVE Act to secure our elections, but every member wholeheartedly agrees, blowing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on getting Nancy Pelosi a chauffeur everywhere. Speaker Nancy Pelosi runs away from questions. When are we going to stop putting the focus on Nancy Pelosi? This isn't her time to shine. The focus needs to be on her husband, mental health advocacy, elder care, questioning somebody who isn't able to take advantage of the system, and place blame everywhere else, crowded in cloak of secret. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we have the Nancy Pelosi stands. I didn't know that those existed. It's nice to see. Hit and run by a member of an elite family is treated as a misdemeanor. Nancy is still dodging the issue. This isn't a rule of law. It's a double standard. We looked this up. If you were to do a hit and run in California, then you might face 10 years in prison, depending on how damaging it was. If someone was hurt, if they can claim injury, then it'd be the end of your life. Speaking of injury, Nancy Pelosi almost injured a reporter.
The Sixth Committee will find you liable for that day.
Who was asking questions of January 6th.
Day. Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions. Thank you.
Wow.
The hamming it up to the camera is my favorite part of all of that. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, keep asking Nancy Pelosi questions. And if you hear the Pelosi's are in the area, get the hell off the streets. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.
When are we going to know the truth, you guys? When are we going to know? On everything.
In the afternoon, Napa County Sheriff's deputies responded to a 911 call reporting a hit-and-run crash. Investigators say the driver was 86-year-old Paul Pelosi, the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Deputies say Paul Pelosi struck a legally parked vehicle, left the scene, and was found about a quarter mile after his own car became disabled. The investigation determined no alcohol was detected upon screening. Therefore, a DUI was ruled out. On Saturday, Cron 4 spoke with the owner of the damaged vehicle, who confirmed it was this black Tesla shown here. They did not want to appear on camera, but did say their main focus is getting the car repaired as soon as possible. The owner says the Tesla remains at the scene, with debris still scattered on the ground because their insurance company is unable to inspect the damage over the 4th of July holiday weekend.
It's unfortunate that she just didn't park in the driveway that yesterday.
Cron 4 also spoke with a neighbor of the Tesla owner who did not want to be identified. They say they hope this unfortunate incident becomes a lesson for drivers everywhere to pay attention on the road.
It's a residential area and it does have some fast traffic at times, and we do need to slow down, even though we have all these little cautions and bike lanes and everything to keep our pedestrians and bicyclists safe. It's still dangerous. So do slow down.
Because no one was injured, Paul Pelosi was not arrested at the scene. The incident comes nearly 4 years after Paul Pelosi pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor DUI in Napa County. In 2022, he was sentenced to jail, placed on probation, ordered to attend a drinking driver program, and required to install an ignition interlock device in his vehicle.
The Napa Valley District Attorney's Office will now decide whether to file a misdemeanor hit and run charge. Pelosi has now been referred to the DMV for a driver reevaluation, a standard the sheriff's office says is common for older drivers. Lindsay Ford, Cron 4 News.
Okay. That was the video. I'm going to play the glasses guy, the report from him. We haven't played him in a couple of days. This one's going to be 26, you guys.
Will support farmers, fight to lower costs, and stand firm to protect the Second Amendment. Vote Andrew Beeler for State Senate.
Watch what salt does to blood pressure.
See this branch of arteries right here? The Mayo Clinic calls it the
July 19th, 2026. Hello, I am John Michael Chambers, and this is your Daily War Report.
It's a good one to follow.
I ask you to listen with love, as where we go one, we go all. It is essential that you listen to these Daily War Reports through the month of July. Meanwhile, be sure to catch my new monthly broadcast titled Fireside Chat with James C., launching in July, and the following report now has been provided in part by Guardian Daniel R. War Report. Strategic Analysis Report. The recalibration of food and biosphere protection. The destruction of the industrial chemical and seed monopoly. The prohibition of genetic patents and the activation of decentralized ancestral agriculture. Biological operational design, biosphere protection doctrine. Let's break this down. Dismantling artificial biosphere sanctioning. In addition to total control over finances and energy, the most subtle yet devastating weapon of the transnational deep state relied upon the systematic corruption of Earth's life support systems. Through transnational conglomerates, the merged Monsanto-Bayer network, agricultural cartels, and chemical giants, the planetary biosphere was methodically degenerated for generations. By enforcing chemical toxins, glyphosate, pesticides, genetically modified hybrid seeds, and the statutory patenting of seeds, the food chain was weaponized into an instrument of chronic debilitation and artificial dependency. Within the current operational phase, however, the existential threat is being liquidated at its very root. Throughout the ongoing transitional corridor, the Alliance is executing a comprehensive recalibration of food and biosphere protection, once again in the shadows. This biological restoration of the planet is not an ecological public relations campaign, but a militarily and legally safeguarded core component of the systemic reset The fundamental right to unadulterated living food is being extracted from the claws of profit-driven slavery software. Number two, the mechanics of seed, liberation, and agricultural restructuring. The physical migration toward a healthy, self-sustaining global utility baseline occurs through the coordinated extraction of the legal and financial leverage once commanded by the agricultural oligarchy. The Allied tracts engage ruthlessly. The expiration of genetic patents. Upon the finalization of the international insolvency proceedings of the corporate states, all patents registered under legacy commercial law covering nature, life, and seeds instantly lose their validity. Nature returns to the legal status of the commons, the inviolable heritage of humanity. The reactivation of ancestral seeds. In the shadows, specialized Allied units have secured the world's sealed seed and gene banks, including Arctic vaults such as Svalbard, Svalbard. These unmanipulated mineral-rich heirloom seeds are being systematically reactivated and distributed across decentralized agricultural networks and local cooperatives within the current strategic window. The financial leverage of the QFS. Through the asset-backed QFS, quantum financial system, subsidies and credit lines for the destructive chemical monoculture industries of the oligarchs are completely frozen in secret. Conversely, the transition to regenerative, chemical-free, and decentralized permacultures is unconditionally funded directly to the farmers via the Allied forces starting capital. Number three, logistical safeguarding of supply within the reset window. The Biosphere Protocol operates in complete alignment with the logistics protocol of the global asset security that we have isolated, while the legal and structural transformation of the agricultural infrastructure progresses in the background. The supply baseline of the populace remains guaranteed every single second. Freight networks, food distribution hubs, and regional supply chains continue to operate within their accustomed operational rhythms during the upcoming matrix migration phase. The termination of the legacy debt slavery software across financial markets does not obstruct the flow of physical food, as the Allied guaranteed framework keeps transport lanes physically and financially liquid. And we've touched on this in the previous war reports. But further elaborating, the unawakened masses will encounter no scarcity in grocery stores. Instead, throughout the ongoing corridor, they will observe a progressive, dramatic increase in food quality and the eradication of toxic additives. Folks, we got a lot of good things to look forward to. Conclusion, the recalibration of food and biosphere protection is the biological guarantee for the regeneration of our human family. The monopoly of the seed extortionists and poisoners is entirely shattered within the shadows, once again, of Allied operations. Patriots can look forward to this phase with deepest trust and pure joy, as the end of biosphere sanctioning seals bodily vitality, the termination of engineered chronic illnesses, and unrestricted access to wholesome nutrition for every brother and sister worldwide. The clockwork of biological liberation functions flawlessly. My friends, the switches are irreversibly set and once again are locked in. Strategic analysis report the interplanetary paradigm and the lifting of the planetary quarantine, the termination of Earth's artificial isolation, the expiration of the cosmic secrecy matrix, and the integration of humanity into the interstellar fabric, exopolitical metastrategy, and orbital structural analysis. Let's get into this. Number one, deconstructing the artificial planetary quarantine. You see, the deepest and most rigorously guarded layer of the globalist control architecture concerned neither terrestrial finances nor geopolitics, but the systematic isolation of planet Earth from the cosmic informational field.
This is the quickest way to clear yellow toenails in 2026.
Christians, did you know there's a solution to get
to a strict military intelligence secrecy cartel anchored within the deepest black projects of the legacy system? Humanity was artificially maintained in a state of isolation and technological scarcity. The populations were sold the fiction, of existing alone and defenseless within an empty universe, while in the shadows, once again, highly advanced interplanetary technologies were utilized to sustain this quarantine. The current operational phase, however, demonstrates the unstoppable shattering of this artificial wall. Within the ongoing transitional corridor, this cosmic isolation is no longer artificially supported, but entirely lifted through the irreversible actions of the Alliance. The official release of Earth's true cosmic nature represents the final evolutionary stroke of liberation. As the gatekeepers of the legacy matrix lose their broadcasting and cyber sovereignty, the power required to suppress the truth regarding our origins and our neighbors in the shadows expires simultaneously. Number two, we're talking about the mechanics of exopolitical opening and archive declassification. The physical migration into the interplanetary paradigm occurs through the structured, phased flooding of the informational space by the Allied Alliance. This operation utilizes unhackable hardware in orbit. The cascade of official UFO declassifications, and again, I've launched Off-World with JMC. Second episode launches in the month of July. The rapid official release of UAP materials by government agencies, such as the recent third declassification package just last month in June, are not random diversionary maneuvers. They represent textbook preconditioning of the collective consciousness. The masses are gradually introduced, to the reality that we have never been alone, entirely without existential shock. We try to help that along a step or two in our off-world broadcast. The role of the U.S. Space Force and Starlink. The U.S. Space Force, as an independent military branch, reports directly to the lawful Commander-in-Chief, President Donald J. Trump. Its primary mandate in the endgame is the absolute protection and management of low Earth orbit, LEO. Through the indestructible Starlink satellite network, the Alliance commands the frequency spectrum, ensuring that the dying deep state can no longer launch advanced technological deception scenarios, Project Bluebeam, to induce panic. See, folks, everything's being addressed in these from very high level sources in these war reports. The release of the Secret Space Program, SSP. Upon the collapse of the corporate states and the Vatican trust model, all suppressed patents covering anti-gravity, quantum telecommunications, and interstellar propulsion revert to humanity. The technological achievements hidden within the deepest underground bases, the DUMBs, and orbital stations are made universally accessible through the new decentralized education system. The evolutionary frequency booster, number three, the evolutionary frequency booster for the human family. This comprehensive exopolitical opening deploys immense spiritual and intellectual momentum following the actual scare event. Once existential distress is eliminated by the asset-backed quantum financial system and the Gesara Jubilee, the minds of the patriots expand, grasping that Earth is not an isolated prison, but a protected sovereign member of a far grander, benevolent cosmic community.
We're halfway.
Permanently erases
13
any
minutes.
remaining spark of the legacy slave mentality. The collective instantly shifts from the mode of survival struggle into the mode of infinite creation. Humanity ceases to view itself as powerless cogs within an artificial matrix, recognizing its position as a cosmobiological family operating in alignment with the universal laws of liberty and justice. So in conclusion, the interplanetary paradigm represents the majestic, visionary finale of Allied operational design. The artificial walls of the terrestrial quarantine are irreversibly pulverized in the shadows. Patriots can anticipate this phase with the purest joy and raised heads, as crossing this cosmic finish line marks the end of amnesia and the beginning of our true evolution. The clockwork of awakening functions flawlessly across all dimensions, from the ground to deep space. The switches are irreversibly set and are once again locked in. What is the MOU really good for? The true command, the logical checkmate for Tel Aviv and the neocons. The inevitable moral divide. The American people are deeply weary of endless billions in payments and unconditional military support for foreign conflicts. So let's break it down. By exclusively sealing this historic peace, President Trump is riding a massive wave of support from the war-weary masses and his true patriotic base. The calculated fault line. If the hard line is in Tel Aviv, are physically in Lebanon, fail to adhere to the key points of the memorandum, they will walk headlong into the final trap with their eyes wide open. This provides the Supreme Commander with absolute, indisputable justification in the eyes of the U.S. public to lawfully initiate a complete halt to all funding, military supplies, and logistical support. Without this transatlantic lifeline, the old regime in the shadows is instantly rendered incapable of action. Containment under international law. President Trump has contractually pacified Iran and is proving to the world that he is securing global peace. That's the real news. That's the news behind the news. Israel, remember, save Israel for last? Israel has thus lost absolutely all moral and legal cover for further military offensives. From now on, every shot fired from Tel Aviv is an open international act of sabotage against the current peace order. Trust the plan. The cognitive trap. The alliance wanted it to look like a defeat so that the warmongers such as Benjamin Netanyahu, Lindsey Graham, many others, would stick their necks out in their rage. By attacking Trump for this peace deal, they are finally exposing themselves to the war-weary American public as isolated fanatics would have preferred to see a third world war.
Here's what comes off a bowl of strawberries when you drop this device in the water. These berries were already rinsed. The water turned brown in 10 minutes. What came off will change how you think about every piece of produce in your fridge. My friend works in food safety testing. Last month, she watched me rinse.
Strategic analysis report, the juridical interlocking of universal martial law and continuity of government expanded upon here. The hidden chain of command over civilian bureaucracies, the operational application of the Law of War Manual, and the global synchronization Military-legal master strategy, meta strategy, and operational analysis. Let's peel this away. The COG, Continuity of Government Protocol, the temporary administrative mask. A defining point within unconventional warfare, fifth-generational warfare, is the apparent paradox of legacy civilian institutions such as the FBI, federal courts, and tax authorities continue to enforce domestic code issue rulings and process indictments while a global systemic reset executes in the background. This dual reality is masterfully regulated via continuity of government protocols that Derek Johnson has laid out before us. Continuity of government, COG, is not a uniquely American mechanism. It is a standardized treaty-based international emergency framework embedded within the constitutional architecture of all modern nations. When a core sovereign layer undergoes terminal liquidation, such as the administrative foreclosure of corporate proxy states, the outer matrix shell of civilian management must be artificially sustained to prevent immediate societal grid collapse. I hope that brings some clarity to things that have not made sense to us for some time. Consequently, day-to-day operations of municipal police forces, central civil courts, and bureaucratic offices continue to run on automated software tracks. However, they no longer derive authority from an autonomous sovereign matrix. Instead, they function as involuntary custodial trustees under the covert oversight, once again, of Allied military command. Number two, the Supreme Command, deciphering the DoD Law of War Manual.
7 minutes, relax.
When universal martial law is activated in the shadows, the ultimate source of constitutional and administrative oversight shifts strictly to the military executive, as codified within the U.S. Department of Defense Law of War Manual, specifically Chapter 11, Military Occupation. By the way, the Law of War Manual and its updates are available at jmcbroadcasting.com under Resource Guide and/or President Trump page. Within this international paradigm, the operational chain of command is structured with absolute clarity. The status of intelligence and federal agencies. From a strategic military standpoint, domestic bureaus like the FBI are entirely subordinated to military intelligence oversight. Let that sink in. When federal agencies execute search warrants or dismantle organized syndicates, they are fulfilling the systemic cleanup parameters dictated by the alliance, masked as routine domestic law enforcement. They operate as mechanisms of purification, automated by the script of this systemic reset. The constraint of civil judiciaries. Judges within commercial maritime law venues no longer possess final constitutional sovereignty. Their civilian rulings are tolerated by the military apparatus only as long as they maintain localized public safety. Any judicial act that directly threatens national security or attempts to sabotage the Allied transition vector is instantly overridden via military justice frameworks, Title 10 USC. The global synchronization matrix. Because legacy corporate states are interconnected globally through international commercial law, continuity of government protocols deploy in lockstep across Allied regions. Sovereign national defense forces and civil security apparatuses are bound through the unhackable orbital communications into a single synchronized command grid reporting directly to our Supreme Commander-in-Chief, Donald J. Trump. Number three, why the, quote, central casting theater why this must continue running the fundamental mandate of the law of war requires the occupying or liberating military authority to minimize structural trauma to the civilian population. An overt premature declaration of supreme military command, accompanied by a sudden shutdown of all municipal registries, would induce immediate systemic chaos. The day-to-day financial and administrative pressures encountered by patriots under bankrupt local bureaucracies represent the friction of this transition corridor, duly noted. The legacy software is permitted to run out its residual runtime so that good-hearted people remain insulated within a stable environment while the alliance methodically liquidates the transnational cartel under the brightest spotlights of global receivership. The final execution is locked. It's locked into the ledger. Civilian agencies are merely performing their final sequences of their own imminent restructuring. Conclusion: the interlocking of universal martial law and continuity of government protocols provides the mathematical guarantee that the planetary shift executes with absolute institutional security. The transnational cartel has been entirely neutralized and boxed in across all parameters. Patriots can monitor the chaotic surface theater with absolute detachment and sovereignty, knowing that the commander-in-chief maintains complete and utter control over the operational vectors guiding the planet into freedom with second-by-second precision. Ricardo Bossi often speaks about that precision. The clockwork of the civilizational transition functions flawlessly. The switches are irreversibly set, and they are locked in. Be sure to watch our new broadcast.
All right, another good one there. I'm glad I put that one just came out today. A lot of good information. So the next half hour or so, I'm gonna play. I got a lot of short ones. And then the last 20 minutes will be that video from yesterday. So a lot of good short ones I'm gonna play now. I got another cat lady. Oh. We'll play this one here. I got.
To the untrained eye, the board looks disordered. Moves appear delayed. Silence is mistaken for surrender. Contradictions are read as incompetence. But this is not a 2D game, and it is not being played for applause. 4D chess is not about defeating an opponent. It is about positioning reality so that truth exposes itself without force. Those operating at this level understand something the dark does not. That shadow collapses fastest when it is allowed to overextend. The role of figures like Trump and the military intelligence structures behind timing is not saviorhood. It is pressure management, containment, optics, delay until the collective nervous system can withstand what is revealed. The dark does not fall because it is attacked. It falls because it cannot stop lying once given enough rope. Every pause that frustrates you is a calibration. Every move that looks wrong is often designed to provoke reaction. Every apparent loss is data collection. This is chess played across perception layers: legal, psychological, media, energetic, temporal. The military understands timing, not clocks, thresholds. They know that releasing truth too early destabilizes the field. They also know that releasing it too late allows corruption to metastasize. So the game becomes one of compression, allowing the dark to reveal itself, to document itself, to speak itself into record. This is not about good guys versus bad guys. That framing is juvenile and exploitable. This is about systems reaching the end of their coherence. You are feeling tension because you are sensing checkmate conditions forming, not because the game is lost. 4D chess requires patience because the final move is rarely dramatic. It is often quiet, administrative, irreversible. The exposure phase does not look heroic. It looks boring, procedural, uncelebrated. That is how you know it is real. Do not attach emotionally to players. Attach to pattern recognition. The board is clearing, the lies are stacking, the pressure is increasing, and the dark is being required to defeat itself in public view. This is not collapse. This is extraction. Hold your center. Do not react to surface noise. Watch what is allowed to continue. and what is quietly removed. The endgame is not domination, it is unrecoverable loss of narrative control. That is how 4D chess is won. The Syrian High Council transmission complete. Teaser for the extended transmission. In the extended transmission, we will go deeper into how military-grade timing differs from civilian perception, how psychological and media warfare interfaces with the human nervous system, and why prolonged exposure phases are intentional rather than accidental. We will explore why the dark is allowed to speak, act, and overreach publicly, and how this strategy prevents backlash, destabilization, and narrative whiplash. This extended transmission will also address why impatience is the greatest vulnerability during exposure cycles, and how to stay sovereign while the board finishes clearing. To access the full archive of Syrian transmissions, light code activations, and all of my multidimensional artwork and offerings, subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/liquidlightcodes. To book a quantum session with me or to shop my light codes and photography, visit liquidlightcodes.etsy.com. What you are witnessing is not.
Okay, that was a good important one there.
Race to intercept an unidentified aircraft. The F-4 Phantoms are among the fastest fighter jets in the world, but they're not fast enough because they're chasing a MiG-25, a plane that can fly so fast and high it can outrun any fighter or air defense system. For nearly a decade, the Soviet Union's MiG-25 will remain a complete mystery and leave Western intelligence scrambling for answers. In the opening years of the Cold War, a new kind of weapon emerged, the intercontinental bomber, an aircraft with enough range to reach nearly any part of the world to deliver a nuclear strike. America's first intercontinental bomber not only flew further, it flew higher and faster than any bomber before it, making it extremely difficult to intercept. And it started a decades-long trend of building strategic bombers that flew ever higher and faster. The Soviet Union responded by building increasingly capable fighter interceptors to try and stop them. But by the late 1950s, Soviet intelligence had learned that the Americans were developing a new state-of-the-art bomber that would fly so high and fast, it would render the entire Soviet Air Force virtually obsolete. The XB-70 was so cutting-edge that only a few years earlier, it would have been impossible to build. But the Americans were aiming to have the bomber ready in just a few short years. For Soviet leadership, a sense of panic set in. As the largest country in the world, there were over 22 million square kilometers of airspace to guard, and at any moment, American bombers could emerge from the north, or from bases in the east, or NATO allied countries in the west. And only a handful of supersonic bombers would be enough to overwhelm air defenses. The Soviet Union would have just a few short years to design and build a new interceptor to match the incredible performance of the upcoming B-70. It would have to be as fast as Soviet ingenuity could make it, and developed in record time. But to effectively guard the country's enormous airspace, they'd also need to mass-produce the new jet by the hundreds. The MiG-25 was the Soviet Union's answer. An interceptor that would overcome the odds with brute force. To catch the XB-70, engineers would need to equip the MiG with enormously powerful engines, but there wouldn't be time to develop new ones. Instead, they'd make do with a turbojet originally built to power cruise missiles and reconnaissance drones. They were the largest engines ever put on a fighter, but they were essentially disposable. It meant that initial versions of the MiG had engines with a service life of just 150 hours. At intercept speeds, the MiG-25 would have to withstand serious kinetic heating, with some parts reaching 300 degrees Celsius. But lightweight, heat-resistant titanium was just too difficult to produce on a mass scale. So engineers built the jet largely out of heavy nickel-steel alloy, a material that could be quickly welded together and easily repaired at even the most remote and ill-equipped airbase. But it meant that the more than 40,000-pound jet could never be maneuverable, a characteristic considered irrelevant for its mission. To spot enemy bombers, the MiG-25 was equipped with a colossal 600-kilowatt radar. designed to detect high-flying aircraft up to 100 kilometers away and burn right through their jamming devices. And it would need only one kind of weapon, 4 of the largest air-to-air missiles ever produced. Along with the interceptor, there would also be a dedicated reconnaissance version with powerful surveillance cameras, increased range, and an even higher service ceiling. Some versions could even be equipped for high-altitude bombing. But the vast majority of MiG-25s would be built as dedicated interceptors. Mass production began in 1969, and at one point, 100 MiG-25s were rolling off assembly lines every single month. The MiG-25 would fly higher and faster than any combat jet in history, and it would have a profound effect on the Cold War, just not in the way the Soviets were expecting. In 1967, the Soviet Union put on a massive air show, and they made sure the Americans were watching. The event was even broadcast in English for Western audiences. The Soviets unveiled several new aircraft for the very first time, but they saved the best for last. In November 1971,
All right. Military video. Now we'll get to the second cat lady video. I think I got it right here. He's outside.
My shoes were on my feet. What if they saw that? I mean, it's a good thing I fixed it. All right, is this thing running? Because I'm going to get this ad out there. It's not. All right, can we start at 3, 2, 1? I don't know what this wet stuff is. It's wet stuff coming.
I don't hear
from the sky. Am I supposed to? Is it going to burn me? Am I supposed to sit out here?
It's called rain, ma'am. It won't hurt you, but you're supposed to come out of it.
Okay. All right, let's get this ad on. Hello, everybody. I am Tracy Munchism, and I am here because I am throwing my name in to run for the Democrat senator seat. Graham Plattner was a wonderful friend of mine, and nobody could ask for a better man. You talking about a hunka burton.
Ma'am.
So you're going to cut that? We'll cut it. We'll cut it. Okay. Graham Plattner was a wonderful man. He got railroaded. I knew him personally, and I'm just letting you guys know that the only reason I'm running is because I stand on Graham's same values, okay? I am here to represent the city of Maine, and I'm ready to be the senator, and I bring with me a bunch of values that I'm sure you'll agree with. First of all, we're going to shut down the prisons, okay? We're going to let them people out. They've been locked up long enough. We got some beautiful people in prison. We're going to let them out. What we're going to do is we're going to ship them to every state. That way everybody gets a little something, something, okay? The second thing we're going to do is we're going to shut down the police department. We don't need police. I've got enough social workers and people that are going to handle any situation that comes up, okay? The third thing we're going to do is we're going to abolish ICE. By abolish ICE, I mean we're going to get rid of ICE, okay? All they're doing is removing wonderful people from this country, and these people need our votes. I mean, I'm sorry, they need to vote for us. I don't know. I had a little bit before I came out here. Are you going to delete this and get the damn geese out of the shot, please? Can you get the fucking geese out of the shot? Delete that and let's roll it back. All right, let's roll it back. All right. As I was saying, we're going to get rid of ICE. We're going to get rid of the prisons. We're going to get rid of the police, and it's going to be a wonderful world. Everything's going to be free. You hear me? Everything's going to be free. We're going to take it from Elon Musk. We're going to strip his ass down. We're going to take everything he's got. We're going to take his house. We're going to take his stupid ass looking little pyramid-shaped cars. Everybody's going to get a pyramid-shaped car, okay? We all going to benefit from Elon Musk's teat. We're going to suck off his teat. And everybody, nobody has to have a job. Nobody has to work. Nobody has to do anything. We're going to enjoy life for once, guys. Okay? So I hope you'll vote for me soon. I really do. Is that it? I don't understand what this is. It's making my clothes stick to me. What do I do? Oh, okay. All right.
That was a weird one, Lucy. I don't know what she was talking about on that one. Can't play that one. Darn it. Oh, I got 3 and 4, I think, but I can't get 1 and 2, but I got 3 and 4. They won't let me show 1 and 2.
Step back to the national picture. The total number of active weather alerts of every kind across the entire United States on a normal day sits at a certain baseline. In roughly 24 hours, that national total surged to somewhere between 421 and 422 active alert products, a jump of around 130 alerts in a single day, an increase of about 45%. And of every state in the country, the one carrying the most alert products was Texas, with 55. Nearly half of a single day's enormous jump in weather warnings for the entire nation was tied to what was happening in and around this one flooding corridor. So here is where we stand at the end of the first piece of this. We have a flood already in progress, being fed by a forecast of 6 to 8 inches more, locally past 10, onto ground with nothing left to give. We have rivers with names that Texans say quietly, already carrying dangerous walls of moving water. We have a single county reporting anywhere from 3 to 15 inches of rain, and we have a national weather system lighting up, with Texas at the center of it. The obvious question is when it stops. But that is the small question. The real one, the one that actually explains what you are looking at, is why it is here at all. Why this specific stretch of Texas, again, and why the water comes not as a slow rise but as a wave. Because the answer to that is not in today's forecast. It is in the ground itself, and it has been waiting there for millions of years. Part 2. A map of rivers that should not all be flooding at once. Pull back from any single warning and look at the whole map of Texas rivers on the morning of July 16th, and you notice something that should not be possible. They were nearly all going up at the same time, not one river fed by one storm, but a fan of separate rivers, draining separate valleys, spread across a wide stretch of the state, every one of them carrying flood warnings on the same morning. When that happens, it is telling you that the thing driving the water is bigger than any one thunderstorm. It is telling you the whole region is being loaded at once. Start with the one that was already at the top of the scale. The Nueces River, below the town of Uvalde, was in major flooding. I need you to understand what that phrase means in the language the Weather Service uses, because these words are not chosen loosely. The agency sorts river flooding into categories, and they climb from minor to moderate to major. Minor flooding is water in low spots, over some roads, an inconvenience with an edge to it. Moderate flooding starts reaching structures and forcing people out of low areas. Major flooding is the top category. It means extensive inundation, serious threat to life and property, the kind of flooding that rewrites the day for everyone near the water. And the Nueces below Uvalde was already there, major flooding occurring and forecast to continue, while more rain was still falling upstream. The worst category reached before the day's rain had even finished. Think for a moment about what that single designation implies on the ground. Major flooding on a river below a town means the water is out of its banks and into places it does not normally reach, threatening structures, cutting off roads, and putting anyone in the lowlands at genuine risk. And this was on the Nueces below Uvalde, a river and a county name that, like the Guadalupe, carries its own weight in the memory of this region. This was not just a Texas problem measured in Texas terms. Step back to the national picture. The total number of active weather alerts of every kind across the entire United States on a
Yeah, part 4 now. I got a short Trish video.
extreme rain was still falling, tells you the system had already blown past the warning stage and into the emergency stage, with more water still on the way down from above. The Nueces was not alone in its own watershed. At Laguna upstream, the Nueces was in moderate flooding. Further down, near Asherton in Dimmick County, moderate flooding was forecast as the water worked its way south. Trace those points in order, from Laguna down past Uvalde to Asherton, and you're watching a flood travel. The same slug of water moving down the river system stage by stage, hitting moderate flooding here, major flooding there, then moderate again further down as it spreads out. That is the flood wave made visible across a whole watershed, one body of water working its way toward the coast, forcing a new warning at each community it reaches. The Sabinal River at the town of Sabinal was forecast to reach major flooding, with the warning noting that at a stage of 20 feet the water spreads into the lowlands. The Frio River at Tilden, in McMullen and Live Oak counties, carried a flood warning too, minor for now but with moderate flooding waiting at 26 feet. 4 different points on the Nueces and its sister rivers, all rising together because the rain that feeds them had fallen across the whole upper watershed at once. Now move north and east, and you find the Llano River doing the same thing in 2 places. Near Mason, in Mason County, the Llano was under a flood warning for minor flooding running through Friday evening, with moderate lowland flooding waiting at 24 feet. Near Junction, in Kimball County, another warning, minor flooding forecast with the water reaching lowlands at 16 feet. And then the San Antonio River down at Goliad, draining a set of counties toward the coast, forecast for minor flooding with the explicit note that moderate flooding was possible. Every one of these is a separate river, every one of them was rising on the same morning, and every one of them sits inside the same corridor of Texas. Notice too how the timing of the warnings tells its own story about the pace of this thing. The flash flood warnings were written to expire in a matter of hours, 1 until 2 in the afternoon, another until 1:15, another until 1:30, the short windows you use for a threat that is happening right now and moving fast. But the warning tied to the flood wave on the Guadalupe, through Comal and Kendall counties, was set to run until 10:15 that night. That is not a short fuse warning for a passing cell. That is an acknowledgement that a mass of water was going to keep travelling and keep threatening for the rest of the day and into the night, long after the rain that spawned it had moved on. The river flood warnings ran longer still, some of them stretching into the following day and beyond, because the rivers themselves would take that long to crest and recede. The clock on each warning is a clue to what kind of danger it describes, and the clocks on July 16th range from the immediate to the multi-day all at once. And through the middle of all of it, the Guadalupe, carrying that dangerous flood wave we started with, the river the warning singled out with the most urgent language of the day. A moving surge, not a slow rise, tracked by emergency managers as it travelled downstream through Kerr County and Kendall County and Comal County, with warnings extended late into the night. Put your finger on each of those rivers on a map and something jumps out. The Guadalupe, the Nueces, the Sabinal, the Frio, the Llano, the San Antonio. They are not scattered randomly across Texas. They line up. They fall along a band that runs from the hills west and north of San Antonio, down and across a strip of the state that follows a very particular geological line. For the top flood category to be reached and forecast to continue.
Okay, that was a big update there. The water level stuff. This one's 8 minutes, guys.
About a radical new.
The DHS is out with a brand new study that Donald Trump was quoting last night. He's concerned because 278,000 non-citizens are, according to DHS, on the books to vote in this election. I mean, that's kind of alarming, wouldn't you say? So this is a study that has just come out, and he's not having it. He wants to end this ASAP. Here we go.
Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote.
I mean, that's concerning. Very concerning, right? Like, this is not okay. And yet, this all comes as a lot of blue states refuse to turn over their voting rolls. They refuse to because they're saying, this is a state thing. We don't want the federal elections taking this over. We don't want the federal government taking this over. But here's the problem. If you have this real security threat and your elections could possibly be under siege by these international actors And then you have all these hundreds of thousands of people that are here that are on the voting rolls somehow that they're saying should not be, that they're not even citizens. Then why aren't you going to police that? And why aren't you willing to police it? I mean, you look at what's going on. The Saeed guy, right, out in Michigan, who's doing a campaign tour with none other than a couple of other commies, Sanders and AOC. We, the people, no, the people versus the powerful tour. Ooh, catchy, really catchy. Nice little poster there too, guys.
Not ICE. How would we, how should we, how could we deal with the estimated millions of people in this country that didn't come through the proper channels, that we don't necessarily know who they are or where they are? I'm going to start with you, Dr. El Sayed, with 60 seconds. What do we do with that situation?
So I just want to be clear. I went to Minneapolis at the height of Project Metro Surge. I watched as our government laid siege to a city in our own country. It was awful to see. ICE is not about immigration. ICE is not about the southern border. I was on nearly the northern border. ICE is about normalizing paramilitary force on our streets. I've been clear that you can't reform ICE. You can't retrain ICE. You have to abolish ICE.
I'm going a little longer.
Okay. And I guess the idea is we just bring them all in. I mean, last night in the main Democrat Senate debate, they talked about, well, we need to have a way to get everybody's citizenship. You understand the law of unintended consequences, or perhaps in this case, it's actually the law of intended consequences, because they actually want all of them to come here. You're going to, if you offer that path to citizenship, you will be, in fact, encouraging more and more people to come here. And by encouraging them to come here, you actually put them in harm's way, believe it or not. Children, for example, getting put into harm's way for the opportunity to come here, and people giving up, so much in order to come here instead of actually building a life back home. So we can't do it. We just, something's got to give. And these people, like the ones you see, they're on the poster. They don't get it. They don't understand it. And, well, maybe they do. Again, understand the method to the madness. I think this is what the president's warning against. You now have international actors alongside people here in the Democrat Party working collectively together. They are all on the same team, working against this president, working against MAGA, working against what we would see as what's right and what is just. And that is really obviously of grave concern right about now, don't you think? Meanwhile, you think about what's happening right now internationally, whether it be with Greenland, whether it be with what's going on with China, whether it be NATO. We've been covering a lot. I'll be covering a lot more of that too, because I'll be across the pond, as they say, all next week for you. The show's going to move earlier. We're going to be on around 11 a.m. I hope is that good with you guys? Can you do 11 a.m.? I'm thinking, because I'm going to be like 6 hours ahead there. So I'll get a head start, a jump start on the news, as will you. Anyway, we'll be talking about NATO again next week, because there are a lot of European actors that do not want to see this president succeed, that do not want to see his successor, whether that be JD or Marco. Who's your money on? Just curious. I'll watch the comments here. They don't want any of them to succeed, because they know that is going to be a harder row for them to hoe in terms of the commitment that they've got to give. He's actually holding them responsible. So we'll talk some more about that next week. But this is a real concern. I think it was an important speech that he did last night. And I think we need to focus on this, and we need more revelations, right? We need more information coming out, because I think there's a lot of bad actors. We learned, of course, Grassley telling us this week, 44 members of Congress were being spied upon by Joe Biden's FBI. I mean, this has got to stop, guys. And maybe mutual assured destruction at this point is the only thing that will do it. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you hit the...
Okay, a big update on that one. I got 4 short clips with Nick Shirley and his mom. And then I think I might have one more. And then I'm going to end it with that video again from yesterday, for the people that didn't see that important video. Did you see it, Angie, Tim, and Paul? Oh, I got one DJ. This one's one DJ's 4 minutes, and then we'll get to Nick Shirley.
Too many people are listening to so many moving lips out there.
Flapping gums, moving lips. Flapping gums, moving lips. You just, and then you'll hear people say, do your own research. No, that's what got everybody in trouble, is by doing your research off of a Google search. All right, you're trusting a Google search. All right, and most of this stuff's coming from a .org or a .net or a .this, and it depends on what the sources of foundation are. It could still come from a good .org site, .net, but it depends on the foundation of the source. If the foundation of the source is not built on the foundation and the fabric of our nation, which is a lot more than just the Constitution, you're in trouble. So there's a lot of people out there. You already know the names, all right? This week, I've had all kinds of messages and comments. More you talking about flooded up. And you're looking like you made 10 steps forward and took 50 steps backwards. Because you put too much faith and trust into influencers who only talk drama and propaganda. Tucker Carlson has never once quoted a law anywhere. And if he's even under an NDA right now, if he's under an NDA right now, then he's exempt. But even before this unique strategy and setup, before that 45, Tucker Carlson never talked about a law or an order, not one time. Things that provide solutions in our nation, things that bring people together with perspectives and solutions for all of us. Tucker Carlson not one time has ever talked about laws, orders, executive orders, etc. before this right here. Alex Jones has never talked about laws and orders. It's all been big bad boy. We got to get our rights back in this nation. And blah, blah, blah. It's just drama and propaganda. Drama and propaganda. Clickbait. No solutions whatsoever. And if you got a problem with someone like me and saying, "Oh, you're just jealous," I'm no one's jealous. I don't have anything to be jealous of. One, Alex Jones is not a veteran, so I got him beat right there already straight out the gate. Two, I'm not being compromised and bought out like he was. All right. Do you see any fancy backgrounds back here? I know a lot of cool people that have good. I know some good people with cool backgrounds. But do you see me with that? Have you seen me change yet? Have you seen me rolling around in Rolls Royces and all this other shit that these people have? I don't think so. All right. Do you see me with a massive security team around me saying, "Oh, you can't talk to him today," and blah, 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 blah? Do you see me on a video being leaked talking bad about President Trump like Alex Jones? Have you not seen any of this stuff? But what do? You put your faith into people like that. Not a foundation, not a solution. See, and people don't know how to separate the fact that I'm not worshiping President Donald John Trump from the simple standpoint because he's President Donald John Trump. No, he's my commander-in-chief. All right, there's only 6% of this population that are veterans. We can say that. He is our commander-in-chief. All right, he's your president. He's my commander-in-chief. Huge difference. All right. I don't worship him simply because of who he is. All right. I know the foundation and the fabric of our nation, but I also know the laws and the orders of which he invoked, and they are all supportive